We're on A1A on the Indian River Lagoon National Scenic Byway at the historic landing site of Ponce de Leon. He landed here in 1513 on the beaches of the Atlantic, right over the dunes, just south of Melbourne Beach and north of Sebastian Inlet. The Indian River Lagoon National Scenic Byway was designated a scenic byway on the strength of two features: its history and its natural resources. This site combines both features of this scenic byway, the history and the natural resources, because we have Ponce's statue here marking his landing, but then just across A1A on that side is the Coconut Point Sanctuary. On the lagoon side of Coconut Point Sanctuary is Hubb's SeaWorld Research Institute, where we're meeting today with two research scientists who rescue whales and dolphins in the area. The Hubb's SeaWorld Research Institute here in Melbourne Beach is one of only 3 Hubb's SeaWorld Research Institute centers in the United States. This facility isn't open to the public, but we were granted an exclusive interview with the folks here to let people know the cool things happening on the byway. We met with Megan Stolen and Wendy Noak Durden, 2 research scientists who work here and at SeaWorld in Orlando. Both Megan and Wendy grew up in this area, received their master's degrees at the University of Central Florida, and now work to help marine life in the Indian River Lagoon. Most of their research focuses on lagoon dolphins, but they also do research on whales and oceanside dolphins. They collect, analyze, and store valuable data and study the effects of the environment on the marine life. They do not house marine life at this location. This is more an outpost on the front lines of defense, responding to calls to help stranded, injured, or deceased marine life. This facility has the claim to fame of being the first on-site to rescue 2 now famous dolphins, featured in the Dolphin Tale movies.
The interesting thing about the lagoon is that it's basically just like a big bathtub. So it only has so many entrances and exits, and there's not a lot of tidal flow. So the dolphins that live and die in this lagoon kind of stay in the lagoon. And there's lots of boaters and kayakers and people on the water, and so they report the animals to us. 2 of those animals have become sort of famous. We rescued Winter, and we also rescued her little sister, as we call her now, Hope. They both stranded basically in the same general area up in Mosquito Lagoon. They have very different stories.
Winter was first reported by a fisherman. She was actually entangled in a crab pot. So at that time, the animal was disentangled from the crab pot, but very small, and a dependent calf, obviously, who couldn't survive without her mother. And she had severe injuries to her tail. So she was transported by SeaWorld over to Clearwater Marine Aquarium, where she really got her stardom.
And then Hope has a sad story. She was called in by some boaters. Her mother had just died, and she was still hanging out by her mom. And she was a newborn dolphin, and then she was transported by Harbor Branch over to the same aquarium that Winter was in. And they took care of her, and now she's done really well and gotten famous.
The public really is our greatest ally. They're the people who usually find the stranded animals, whether they be injured or already dead. They're the reason that we're able to do our research often. Many a times it's the public who actually finds the entangled animal and stays with it until we can help.
One of the issues that we have with lagoon dolphins that we don't see on the ocean side is interactions between recreational gear and dolphins. And a lot of times it's derelict gear. It's just gear that's sort of blown off somebody's boat and collected in the water. Sometimes it's dolphins misbehaving and they're taking your fish off somebody's line. And there are several things that you can do if you're fishing in the lagoon. One is if a dolphin comes by and starts begging around your area, you just pull in your line. So if you pull in your line and just kind of hang out or maybe move away to a better spot, the dolphin will be discouraged. Don't feed dolphins. They don't need our food. And then just, maintain a decent distance away from them. So if you're kayaking or boating and you see a dolphin, you don't want to approach it. You want it to be a wild animal. And we don't want them to get used to people. So just give them distance, give them their space, let them eat what they're used to eating, and then we'll all be better off.
As Wendy said, the public is their greatest ally. It's the people who discover stranded or injured animals that sets these research scientists and rescue staff into action.